Good afternoon, and thank you for coming. I'm Jutta Heller, this is Jacob Martens, and we would like to tell you today about teaching squares and how cross-disciplinary peer teaching observations improve the student experience in the classroom. Who are we and what do we do? We are a community of faculty dedicated to improving teaching practices, our teaching practices. Teaching Squares is a structured and non-evaluative process of classroom observation and shared reflection. The following outcomes guide our voluntary program. We want to re-energize our teaching. We want to reflect on our own teaching practices and share cross-disciplinary pedagogical practices and techniques. We want to build a community of practice. And we want to nurture and support ideas for scholarship in teaching and learning. So how does this work? Some of you have participated in this. So for faculty members with compatible teaching schedules will observe each other in the classroom. They will tend to meet as a smaller group or even one-on-one with Square members. And then, of course, we have meetings within the larger Teaching Squares community where we share out, we share kudos, we share our feedback, we share our reflections, and we meet at the beginning of the quarter to set the tone for the quarter, and then we meet again at the end of the quarter to share out. And of course, all of us are part of the larger UWT community as well, so some of these arrows might actually be going outward as well. So I want to read you a few quotes from folks who have participated in Teaching Squares. Heather Hines says, while Teaching Squares is not an evaluative process, it does encourage me to self-evaluate and improve. Andrea Modares said, I came away with a newfound respect for the varied fields and disciplines our students navigate every day. Leanne Laux-Pachon said, I was reminded of all the different ways students can look and be engaged with course material. And Cynthia Housen says, I really experienced group dynamics as a student, which is insanely powerful. You can just hear Cynthia's voice right there. So in short, faculty who participate in Teaching Squares understand student expectations and observe and get to observe student group dynamics without being the one evaluating them.
You might be wondering what that's for. 10 years ago, my professional development director asked me to consider this important question. What can I learn about teaching by observing another teacher? Today, I want to reflect on how Teaching Squares captures creativity. What you see here is not a spoon trick. There was no peanut butter in that spoon. In Salvador Dali's spoon trick, he balanced a spoon over a cup and took a nap. And when he fell asleep, he woke himself up and wrote down what he was dreaming. In Teaching Squares, we are broadening by reminding ourselves what it's like to be in another class, in a class that we do not know because it's outside of our discipline. We surround ourselves with diverse stimuli. Learning develops in the interstices of observation, discussion, and reflection. In other words, this is lifelong learning. I'd like to take you under the hood and explain bending, breaking, and blending. Astronauts in Apollo 13 had to figure out how to fit a square CO2 scrubber into a round hole. With the help of engineers at Mission Control, the team bent, broke, and blended for their lives. Picasso painted nudes in his Cubist style that broke all the expectations of realism and beauty. More recently, scientists created transgenic spider goats for making bulletproof vests. So what does blending, breaking, and blending look like in teaching squares? In winter of 2018, I observed Heather Hines playing video game music during group work. The next quarter, I adapted my own. By summer, my students disagreed with my music tastes and broke out with theirs. In fall, I took a break from the playlist and participated in teaching squares again. After meeting with my partner, I realized I could find better examples closer to my students' experiences. I thought, why don't the students provide the examples? And they did, through their music. They wrote music-inspired research papers. This spring, students not only write about, but also present their music to the class. I thank Teaching Squares for discovering this iterative process. A song that often shows up on playlists is "Where is the Love" by the Black Eyed Peas. How can Teaching Squares improve the student experience in the classroom? Give students and teachers space to co-create knowledge together, to include everyone in the learning. Teaching Squares is one way we can show the love.